So I know coaching has always been a big passion of yours, and I know you coach at the high school level, but tell me a little bit about how it got started for you.
Well, kind of knew at an early age that I wanted to probably coach because more so my family. I was around sports my whole life growing up. My brother's three-sport athlete, and since we were 4 and 5 years old, I can remember him always having a game on the TV or wanting to go outside and throw baseball or shoot basketball or whatever it was. And then when I was probably 5, from then on, I can remember my dad being a high school football coach, and so I was always around that. And he was the defense coordinator for a while and the offense coordinator for a while, and then from the time I was in 5th grade till 8th grade, he was I guess 5th grade to freshman year of high school, he was the head baseball coach at the high school as well. So I always was around sports and always was around coaches, whether it be him or his colleagues. So I always thought that might be something I wanted to do. And then, of course, when I got into high school and playing sports, I had a coach that I played for basketball-wise, Jimmy Miller, who now I coach with, that I always really saw that he had a big impact on athletes, and not just on the court but off. And I thought that would be something I could be interested in and be fun to do. And, I've always admired a lot of coaches watching games. I watch the coaches as much as I do the players just because that's something that interests me.
So it sounds like growing up you was always around sports. Is that correct?
Yep. I have 2 siblings, and they both played 2 and 3 sports each, and then I played, I guess, 4 at times with football, basketball, baseball, and then I was a golfer in high school. So, yeah, if I wasn't playing them, I was watching them or I was reading about them, and that's something I always wanted to do. And obviously, you find out when you get to high school level, if you're not good enough to play at the next level, then you might have to get into coaching if you want to continue with those sports.
So tell me a little bit about your collegiate experience and how exactly that got started school-wise.
So I went to Tennessee Tech after I graduated high school here, and a buddy of mine was the middle school coach at Rickman Elementary, and that's where I played and that's where he played. And he asked if I wanted to maybe help him there, and so I got into, wasn't really knowing, especially basketball probably wouldn't have been the one I thought I would coach. Probably would have been baseball. That was always my favorite growing up and probably the one I was best at. And so I started helping him, and then we started coaching travel basketball, and kind of got hooked on it, and that was something I really enjoyed doing. So started coaching with him in probably my sophomore year of college. I was coaching the grade school team, and then I think I did that for 2 years, and then the head coach at the high school called and asked if I would want to move up and help him start my senior year of college. So I guess that was about 4 years ago, and ever since I've been there helping him out, and maybe one day hoping to move up to the collegiate level if opportunity like that arrives. But right now I'm really enjoying working with high school kids.
So it seems to me you might have been a little unsure which you wanted to coach at first, whether it be basketball or baseball.
Yeah, I would say at first I was thinking baseball just because I feel like I had a little more knowledge in it, and I was around it a little more with my dad being a baseball coach. He never really was around basketball much other than when I was playing it.
Sure.
But when I got into helping my buddy at Rickman, I really started learning the ins and outs of the game and got excited about basketball season and kind of fell in love with doing that. And then the opportunity arose at the high school, and so I took that and just kind of been taking it and running with it since then.
So tell me a little bit more about your future. What exactly you want to do?
Well, like I said, hopefully one day I have dreams of coaching at the college level, but if not, I could see myself also being a head high school coach. I really enjoy working under the Coach Jimmy Miller right now because you get to be around kids, that are the high school age, and they're becoming young men and deciding what they want to do with their life. So it's fun to just be around them every day and watch them grow. And high school sports around this area is, sacred because the closest college team at the big levels, Tennessee, you have Tennessee Tech around here that these kids see a lot. But other than that, it's, Tennessee and Vanderbilt. And so high school sports are a big deal around here. And so when you play those big games, rivalry schools, it's hard to beat that feeling that you get. So I wouldn't be against coaching high school, for the rest of my career, but also have always been a little bit interested in moving to the next level.
Sure. It seems you mentioned Jimmy Miller quite a few times. Seems like you really admire him. So tell me a little bit more about him.
Yeah.
And what he's done to influence your career.
Yeah, so he was a really good player here, and then he played at the collegiate level at Lincoln Memorial, and kind of was a buddy of my dad's growing up, so I was around him a lot. But when I played for him, I really liked the way not as much of how he X's and O's coach, but the way he relates with his players and the relationships he has with them after we were playing, and he had kids that he coached 5, 6, 7 years before us that would come back and to our games and then come back to practices, come back and play in the PlayStation with him, whatever it was, because he had that kind of impact on their life, and the energy he brought every day. I would say that's something I admire. Like at the collegiate level, I would say somebody like Tony Vitello, or the energy they bring to their teams is something I think that is important, and it makes teams rally around that. And so that's something I would, if I ever do get a head coaching job at any level, I would say the energy and the relationships are the two most important things I would bring.
Sure. So let me get this right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you began your career as a high school basketball coach, and you have intentions of going to the collegiate level if it arrives.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate goal at the end. But if it didn't happen, I could see myself just staying at the high school level. With the college level seems interesting to me because it's a full-time, everyday job. You're there from start to finish, and it's a little bit more competitive in that aspect. And then the recruiting has always interested me to take young people and give them a new home and help them, hopefully achieve their ultimate goal one day, whether that's to get into coaching or play at the professional level or just have a great collegiate career and get their school paid for while they're at school because of their athletic ability. So, yeah, I would say one day I would love to be at that level, but it's not the end-all be-all. If I'm a high school coach and end up maybe teaching or doing a regular job and then going and coaching at the high school level, that would be something I'd be interested in as well.
Sure. So tell me a little bit more about the recruiting process at the collegiate level. Would that be something that interests you?
Yeah, I've always liked to listen to interviews of how kids get recruited, and I think going and meeting families and finding kids from different areas and different cultures and different backgrounds and trying to show them why they'd be a good fit in your program. And, I think the cool thing about recruiting is you don't just try to go find the best players. Obviously, you want really good players, but they have to be the type of player that fits your system or your style, because at the high school level you might have to adapt your system every year because you don't really get to pick and choose what kids you get what comes from your elementary schools, and so you might have to be a team that plays fast one year and a team that plays slow. You may be big one year and small the next. And college level, you can, if you want to play fast and shoot a lot of threes, you recruit that. If you want to be slow and play down on the block, you recruit big guys, and that's something that's kind of always interests me, is you can kind of make your own system there.
So it sounds like you have a pretty big passion for recruiting as well as coaching in itself. Maybe a scout or something of that nature?
Yeah, I've thought about maybe scouting or management, even general management. Has always been interested. I just love to watch games and watch players and kind of get tendency of players and see what each player's good at, what they're bad at, and how you can. That's why watching film has always been something that's interesting to me when I'm coaching at this level, because you can see what a player's good at, what a player's bad at, and you can try to help your team, force them to do something they're not as good at, and hopefully that can help your team in the long run.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you and your time and explaining a little bit more about how your career got started. And I wish you the best of luck as a coach and your future.
I appreciate it.